How to reset a Kwikset smart key lock when no existing key is present. Typically on a Kwikset smart key system, you have the current key. You'd stick the key in, turn it 90 degrees to the right, stick your change key tool in, remove the current key with the lock still turned 90 degrees, insert the new key, turn the lock to the upright position, test your key, and you're done. As you can see, it's pretty simple if you have the existing key. But what if you don't have the key? This is the same smart key cylinder. Take off the outer shell and remove the clip. I'm using a pair of wire cutters to do this. Put the clip off to the side. Take the shell casing and put it off to the side. Now you've got what they call the plug. The plug and the plug casing. Notice the tailpiece and the tailpiece clip. Underneath the tailpiece clip there's a spacer. Remove the clip, carefully prying off the back side. Remove the tailpiece. Remove the spacer. I set them in a row so you can keep track of how they came off. Now we're looking at the wafers. These wafers are what's stopping the plug from sliding out of the plug shell. If you depress the wafers that seem to be jamming, you can slide the plug a little bit further out. The wafers will keep popping into position, so keep pushing them in until the plug is all the way out. Here I switch sides. Now I'm pulling on the front of the face of the plug and removing the same thing. Once the plug's out, take the plug shell and set it off to the side. This piece here is the sidebar. Carefully remove the sidebar. Underneath the sidebar there are two springs. Put the sidebar off to the side with your other components. Now we're looking at the sidebar bridge that contains the sidebar. The sidebar being removed exposes two springs. These springs can fall out but tend not to. Just be careful. Keep a cloth underneath it just in case they fall out. Now remove the sidebar bridge. The sidebar bridge is what holds the 5 sidebar wafers. These wafers have a groove cut in them which allow the sidebar to depress once they are aligned. Here we are aligning that groove manually. We positioned them all with the groove in the sidebar bridge to match the sidebar wafer groove. Now notice the nubs on the plug itself. These nubs need to line up to the groove we just aligned the wafers with. Take the sidebar bridge. Be careful not to move the wafers like I've done here. Realign the wafers. You notice in this demonstration I'm using a small flathead screwdriver. That would be more than sufficient. Realign the wafers with the groove. Now take the sidebar bridge and match it up to the nubs on the plug itself. Once they're in alignment, you can slide the sidebar bridge back toward the rear of the plug. This puts it into the reset mode. Holding the sidebar bridge back and toward the rear of the plug, take the new key that you want to program it to and slide the key in. Now slide the bridge forward. The plug is now programmed to the key. That's all there is to it. Now take your components and one by one put them back together, starting with the sidebar. I find it best to leave the key in during this process. Now take the plug and insert it back into the plug casing. Notice the slit toward the back of the plug casing. That designates the rear of the plug casing. Test the key, make sure it still works. Now you want to reassemble the tailpiece. Don't forget your spacer though. Your spacer needs to go on first. Take your spacer, put it on the back of the plug. Take your tailpiece, put it on the back of the plug. Take your clip and line it up with a slot in the tailpiece. This is what holds the tailpiece to the plug and allows the tailpiece to rotate freely in the cylinder. Take the plug and the plug casing, reassembled, and put them back into the cylinder casing. Take your C-clip, reinsert it, grab your pair of wire cutters using the flat to press the C-clip. Turn the key, test the key, make sure it still works. That's all there is to it. Reassemble to the door, and you have successfully rekeyed a Kwikset smart key cylinder from scratch without the existing key. Thank you for tuning in.